All right, it is 6:01 on December the 7th. This is Robert Stevenson. We're going to call to order the Southwick Colony Granville Regional School District School Committee meeting. Can I get a motion to open the meeting?
So moved.
Second, we have Ryan remote tonight, so we'll be doing all votes via roll call votes. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Pat.
Yes.
Jonathan is not with us. Rob's a yes. Motion passes 6-0. Can we get, let's see, can I get everybody stand for the new pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Secretary's report. We've got the minutes here from November 16th. I get a motion to accept the minutes from the 16th.
So
Second.
Any questions, comments, any little typos in here that anybody sees? Ryan, were you remote for that meeting?
No.
I thought you came in late, but on here, Amy, we've got participating. So we just need to adjust that. I think she was
All right.
remote before, right?
Oh, I fixed that. Okay.
Okay,
No, I think
I
I
just
was
saw-
remote
I
for the
just-
one prior.
yeah. Other than that, I think it's good. Any other questions before we move on? Can I get a vote to accept the minutes? Pam,
I'm going to abstain since I was not here.
sounds good. Ryan,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Pat.
Yes.
Rob's a yes. Motion passes 5.
John's here. Yes.
Oh, John's here. John, yes. Here we go. 6-0-1. And math was challenged there. All right, warrants we've got that are going around. I know I've got to get to them. If you can take care of that during tonight, that'd be fantastic. Superintendent Willard, do we have anything for correspondence?
We do not.
All right, we are empty again in the bullpen for public comment, so it looks like we're not going to have any public comment tonight. So we will move on to student advisory report, which we are missing our student advisory because they're at basketball practice. Do we have anything for education presentation this evening? All right, so on to number 6, policies. We have our third reading tonight for the concussion policy. I think I'm going so fast, Amy can't even keep up.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time, so.
So that means that we are slated to approve the concussion policy today.
That would be my understanding, yeah. And this one had very slight changes to it. We said basically the clarification. Oh, well, hang on. Marissa, we will come right back to you in 1 second. You hang on, we're gonna pull an audible here after homeschool. We're gonna go back to you. Basically, Pam, I think the major change or the little change on there was to the point around the return to play protocol that would allow the athletic director to make that decision and do that test in absence of a trainer. Is that,
Correct.
anybody got any?
Or a designee of. the
Right,
athletic
absolutely.
director.
If he's not there and there's somebody trained and able to do that, and he's identified them to be able to have that ability, they would do that.
And just those 2 clerical changes of Southwick College
Right.
Regional High School to Southwick Regional School. That was it.
Anybody, any questions on that? You good, Pam?
Yes.
Okay, next one we've got is our second reading for homeschooling, IHBG. And the only changes we've got on that is in yellow on the second page. We've made a minor change that would indicate that they do have the access to public school activities of extracurricular nature upon approval of the superintendent. And then a clarification just below that they will not be eligible for curricular or education programs.
Now, we're not 100% done with this.
No, we have
Because-
IHGVA. We have the supplementary policy that's going to be in front of us for a policy committee next meeting.
Mhm.
And then on the slate to go to first reading here, that is the clarification primarily for sports with the 2 added languages that I've got to send to Amy tomorrow that indicates attendance
Mhm.
and clarifies that they need to be able to put forth some evidence that indicates that they either have a mastery of the curriculum or that they've got a grading system that shows that they're passing. So,
So now does the school committee approve those two things separately?
Yep. yeah, we can, because I mean, and the way that this is tasked, I don't think, I mean, we can certainly discuss it if we want to, but theoretically, this would get approved at our next meeting. The subsequent policy would be cleared and go to first reading next meeting. Since that's primarily dealing with MIAA athletics, we won't have any sporting activities that will even be impacted until spring sports. So that supplementary policy will have more than enough time to get vetted, approved or denied. Approving this at our next meeting just basically opens up items like right flight, which was one of the courses that will come up in January. That is considered an extracurricular activity that nobody that's a homeschool student would be able to participate in. Once we clear this hurdle next meeting, that would allow any homeschool students to be able to actually go to that extracurricular activity.
So wait a minute, now I'm confused.
Okay.
Because I thought it says here, homeschool students will not be eligible for curricular or educational programs.
What they were, that is specifically like, there are some school districts that allow people, and superintendent jump in here if I get something wrong. There are some school districts that allow what they would call a hybrid homeschool, where they would be able to enroll in art class that was during the school day or a honors history class that wasn't offered through homeschool. We're not opening up that opportunity with this. We're just saying that any extracurricular activities that right flight is considered an extracurricular activity, they would be eligible for. These are things that are going on after school,
day.
on the weekends, and obviously any sort of sporting activities, the play, things like that. The specific clarification here at the end is to identify that we're not looking to open up that door where anyone that's a homeschool student would be able to participate in part-time sort of educational sessions during the school day.
Well, and that
Band,
was,
music.
so
Yeah.
that was my question. Do we need to add for clarification purposes to that last sentence where the red is, do we need to add during the school day to that?
I don't think so,
Clarify that?
because we don't have any extracurriculars going on during the school day. They're all curricular activities,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, I
so-
think it would be okay, because that's how I'm going to interpret it, so, and we will as a school committee,
Okay.
so.
Okay, all right.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions on this? All right, again, I'm gonna pull an audible. We're gonna go backwards. Amy, I don't think you need to go back in the slides, but Marissa's here. We're gonna do our student advisory report. Okay, that's fine. Nora, you're good.
So winter sports have officially begun and basketball has had scrimmages every day this week and will throughout the rest of the week between boys and girls. And next week, the 7th through 12 is having a spirit week and student council meets tomorrow to finalize the themes for each day, but we're not having a pep rally until it can be okay. And NHS just collected and then gave toys to the local holiday drive for families across the state. And the Southwick-based toy drive that was ran by Miss Sasso, but now taken over by NHS, is taking donations up until this Friday, the 10th. And Seniors Helping Seniors, students from NHS have been assigned a house in the event that it snows in the future. And we'll be shoveling walkways and driveways. And then the Wreaths Across America group raised $2,000 on Saturday, the 20th, that was donated to put wreaths on soldiers' graves. And last Tuesday, math teacher Miss Pomeroy was recognized nationally as Teacher of the Month through the Open Up Resources math curriculum. Next Wednesday, Annette, who has practiced and could not attend today, is going to do a presentation at Woodland School on internet safety with the Youth Advisory Board. And lastly, progress reports are coming out digitally on Friday.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. You did a fantastic job. All right, action items. Superintendent Willard, you're up.
Move to approve the revised policy JJIF concussion recommended.
So moved.
Any questions on JJIF? Without any questions, we'll do a roll call vote to approve. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
John,
yes,
and Rob's a yes. Motion passes 700.
Move to approve the 21-22 Southwick Regional School fundraiser selling paper ornament shapes, proceeds to benefit class of 2025 recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have another fun, I'm telling you, the whole town's gonna be fundraisered out with all the fundraisers we're doing.
They're all unique in one.
No, they are, very good. Class of, where, is this the first one for class of
Yes, it is.
2025 though?
Yes.
Man, they are-
There's freshman.
All right, any questions on this?
They're on the right game. Yeah.
They're thinking, these, all the kids that all have 401ks already. They're all in good shape. All right, we'll do a roll call vote to approve. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John,
yes,
Pat,
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
Rob's a yes. Motion passes 700.
Be it resolved that the Southwick Telling Granville Regional School Committee hereby extends its congratulations to John Grimaldi in recognition of 6 years of excellence as an IT director. And we hereby convey our sincere appreciation for your valuable efforts, dedicated service, and assistance rendered, which has enhanced the image of the Southwick Telling Granville Regional Schools. And a record of these resolutions shall be permanently entered into the minutes of this school district. Recommended.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions, comments?
When does his retirement go into effect?
End of December, but he's already gone.
Okay, well, Mr. Grimaldi, thank you very much for your hard work. We certainly appreciate it. Can I get a roll call vote to approve this? Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
yes,
Pat,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Rob's a yes. Motion passes 700. Superintendent, you are up.
Okay, so I'm here to talk about vaccination rates, the spiking COVID in our district, and just a little behind the scenes view of some of the things that we do that doesn't always get conveyed to the people at home. So at Woodland School, we have 330 students. 24 students have had 1 dose and 5 students have had 2 doses of the vaccine. Powder Mill School has 403 students, 42 students have had 1 dose and 2 students have had 2 doses. That might not actually be accurate. The nurse was saying she's having a difficult time getting it to record properly, the kids who have had 2 doses. So she is working on that. And at Southwick Regional School, we have 652 students, 15 students with 1 dose and 351 students with 2 doses. So we're just below 56% with our overall COVID vaccination rate at the regional school, including staff. So what I also want to talk about is just the trends that we're seeing right now in COVID. 4 meetings ago, I reported that we had 36 total cases. 3 meetings ago was 37, 2 meetings ago was 48. And at this meeting, I'm reporting that we have 88 total cases of COVID currently in Southwick and Granville. Talon doesn't have any cases right now. That's a 40 person increase. The live data that Marsha Lamoureux actually gets has us at about 20 more cases than 88. So it has about 109 cases right now in the 2 communities. So we really are seeing that spike in COVID. The bad news is we're seeing the spike. The good news is we're really working with our Board of Health and really working on contact tracing behind the scenes that we don't really share. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of what goes on. So we had a kindergarten class that we had 3 cases in. And so we did the contact tracing, but we looked to see where the COVID originates from. And for the majority of our students, the COVID's originating from a family member at home. So though we had 3 cases in a kindergarten class, there was only 1 that could potentially have been spread in the classroom because they ate lunch together and they were identified as a close contact. But when we did a little bit further investigation, we realized that it was really an outside person where this child did get COVID. So we do call our Board of Health when we have concerns, if we think we're seeing what we call a cluster. We work with our public health nurse to see if maybe we need to increase test and stay to the whole classroom. At that point, we felt we didn't need to, because it was our last day of test and stay, when a fourth student got diagnosed. And so we made the decision and we haven't had, any more cases in that classroom, I believe. So that's some of the behind the scenes work that we do. We don't just report out on Fridays, but we really do take that deep dive to look at the contact tracing to see if we can make any connections, and we really go back to our students and say, make sure you're washing your hands, make sure you're using mitigation strategies, remind them of all the different things that we do to keep the spread of COVID out of the school. Again, we have test and stay, which is wonderful. We get to keep a lot of our kids in school, especially in the younger grades, because they weren't able to be vaccinated, and that's where we're seeing a lot of our cases. So we still, this week, it's our second day, we still are seeing some significant number of student cases. But with test and stay, we don't have to quarantine that many students. However, we are seeing a lot of family members who we are having to quarantine, and they are not eligible for test and stay. But that's just a little bit of behind the scenes stuff that we do here, and that we are working closely with the Board of Health and our public health nurse if we suspect any kind of potential in-school transmission.
So when you say adults are these, like the family members of the kids, they're not eligible for test and stay? Right?
No.
Any of the teachers, if they for some reason are unvaccinated, they would be eligible for test and stay.
If it was a close contact in
Right.
school,
Okay,
in school.
so, right, in school.
So how are we defining close contacts in school these days?
They have to be within, don't put me on the spot here. I need my flow chart. I don't do that.
I think it's within 3 feet for at least
Exactly.
15 minutes.
Did 3 feet,
Feet
is
for
it still
over
15 minutes?
Cumulative for 24 hours.
That was the original definition that we
Yes.
used in the skilled nursing homes
Yes.
at the beginning of this, 15 minutes.
Now,
close contact.
let's say that a student is not, deemed to have close contacts within the classroom because they're not technically falling into that, or you can't prove that. Are parents still notified when, like, let's say in the elementary scenario where, the kids are in the same classroom for most of the day? If there's a positive in the classroom, are parents notified even if their kids are not technically close contact?
If we're seeing numerous cases in the classroom, we do send something home. I know Powder Mill sends them home a lot.
Mhm.
I know at the regional school, he sent something home to the 7th grade because we were seeing numerous cases at the 7th grade level.
Okay,
But usually only when we're seeing a little pocket,
Okay.
just to keep an eye out, pay extra close attention.
right,
But if we're seeing one-offs,
right.
we usually do not.
So.
I'm just
so-
thinking from a parent's perspective, I'd like to know in case, I would want to get my kid tested, that's all.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we found when we're doing this, 2 questions that I don't know, I think I may have asked this a couple of meetings ago, but. Well, the students that we're finding that are positive,
Mhm.
we should have the capability to determine whether they've been vaccinated or not, correct?
We do.
Okay, so, and I'm not gonna put you on the spot with those answers, but is there a way that we can find out that information for maybe next meeting and say, look, so far we've had 85 students at the regional school that have been, that have been positive throughout the year. 85 of them have all been unvaccinated, or 40 of them have been vaccinated, 40 of them haven't. The other question I've got is.
I had that from nurse.
Yeah, no,
answer
but
that
I'm like,
question.
those
Yes.
would be an interesting, that would be an interesting answer I'd like to know, and the other one would be, well, no, they can,
They can.
They know.
who's vaccinated.
they know who's
Well,
That is
vaccinated.
When you do a PCR test at like CVS or Walgreens, they ask you.
Yeah, the other question I would wanna know
We don't need
is.
names, just percentage.
Right.
No, I don't know names, I just want percentages to see, are we dealing with actual breakthrough cases, or are we dealing with people that are unvaccinated that are getting COVID?
Most of our little kids are unvaccinated.
Right, no, but that's why it's,
Right.
they just got the opportunity to get the vaccine
Right.
here recently, but at the
Let's say
regional
7
school,
through 12.
we've got half of them that are vaccinated.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to know if we're dealing with breakthrough cases or whether these are just people that are unvaccinated that are getting sick.
Can I ask another question also?
Sure.
How does the contact tracing apply like to sports? You know, I mean, I know we're looking at the kids in the classrooms, but then are we then following them after
Mhm.
school to sports
Yes.
practices?
Yes,
So we are required MIAA requires any sports activity to have a mask, on, just like we do in this room.
Right,
So I'll take hockey, we have to wear them on the ice, we have to wear them in the locker rooms. We sit in, we have 3 locker rooms for our student athletes, so they are not near each other. And then the ice, I mean, they're moving so fast that, you know, there's no way they would have that 15-minute block where they'd be on top of each other anyway, so.
I'm just thinking more wrestling.
I know, I'm still, I
I'm
still
sorry,
have
I'm
one
speaking for
eyebrow up
my,
on that, but.
yeah,
I'm
speaking for
I'm
my-
trying to figure out, well, I'm trying to figure out headgear for wrestling as well, and, you know, whether the district has purchased student-specific headgear, and I'm pretty sure that there are specific masks that now attach to that headgear. And I'm just, there's been little communication, shall we say, with regard to that.
I will find out for you.
I forgot about wrestling.
Is wrestling a winter sport?
I thought
Yeah.
hockey was the only sport.
It's a
Basketball right now,
Oh,
or basketball's going in.
And then again, and I don't know if we're, I don't think we can require vaccination of our wrestlers, but it's a question that. Ask, I don't know.
It is an interesting sport to not be vaccinated.
One would think.
I can ask our attorney if you can require, I do believe, I do know the answer to that. You can require vaccination for extracurricular activities because it's not mandated that they have to be able to participate in them. That was the last we'd heard from our attorney, but I can't mandate that. That's a school committee decision.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the nice thing is at a high school wrestling level,
Right,
they all have the ability to get vaccinated if they want to.
they do.
So I know from my perspective, would have a challenge mandating these kids to do that if they have a right to say no. And I mean, if you're vaccinated, you're protecting yourself. Like I just got my booster yesterday. Last time I got my second shot was in January. So I'm well overdue from getting that. I mean, I don't know, it gets, the other question I had, Superintendent Willard, would be, have we seen any transmission of cases inside the school that have been sort of identified as school transmissive? You know what I mean?
So the answer to that would be yes, but it did where it occurred was in the school. I don't know how I can say this. It did occur in the school, but mitigation strategies were not occurring at the time.
No, but I mean,
That's all.
I'm assuming the number is extremely minimal, if not.
We'd only know of that
Okay,
one,
no, so
yes.
all of these extra strategies that we're doing, like washing the hand, they're doing the right thing, because if we weren't, you would see more transmission in the school if you've got somebody in it.
Yeah, there's potentially 2,
Okay.
but
That's
I have
statistic.
not got
That's
confirmation.
statistically nothing.
Yes, no.
Compared to the numbers that we've got.
No.
I mean, you're talking less than 2%, 1%.
Because of the action that happened occurred in the school, it didn't, that's why it was in school transmission for the one that I'm aware of.
All right, so the rate we're going, we will be 80% vaccinated by right around June the 18th, right?
Of 2024.
All right. Let's see, we have no Director of Finance and Operations report tonight,
No.
because Steve is at home. Let's see, subcommittees. Anybody have anything that's popped up? I know, I don't think anything really,
We just did negotiations.
right?
We
Yeah,
talked about
so
that.
we've got that's policy 2 weeks from now.
I did attend my first
Oh,
master plan meeting.
now, so is it all set now? Master plan
Yes,
fixed? Okay, good.
All been written.
So
Acronym that they're
3-year
using?
plan, we put pet jump on it, it's done in one meeting.
I have the folder in my car.
What is that? I was reading through it myself the other day. That's okay, it doesn't matter. They're just using an acronym, and it was actually pretty interesting to look at the work that they're doing, and they're using a liaison.
Right, we have different consultants that are helping to kind of allow us to understand the language.
Right,
And then also give us advice as to how to formulate the agenda and then kind of move into,
like 5 categories or something. they're really
Yeah.
looking at? Yeah,
yeah.
I just found it fascinating.
I mean, it is, it
It's
is.
interesting read. It's actually really interesting work.
And the public's invited to go too, so anybody that wants to attend when we're there at the town hall.
Come to the master plan committee meeting.
Right,
All right.
I actually spoke on behalf of the select board. I was quick to make a motion. Somebody said, okay, or somebody said, I want to make a motion. I said, second. Hey, I'm not a select board member. I forgot where I was at. Excited to make a motion.
You go, Pat.
Doug Mogul said, it's not you, kid.
All right, well, that's good.
Doug.
You know, you trying out for your next job.
There you go.
You go.
Oh, we're not that.
All right, anything else? Ted, buildings and grounds, you got any big announcements? Nothing. John, do we have a meeting of the technology group?
Nope.
No? No technology. Yes, Erica, sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's okay. I went to my first LVPEC meeting.
You were on after I was.
Which was interesting because Phyllis, the woman who was in charge of all the correspondence between, obviously I'm new, so she sent me an email and gave me the information of where the building was, what time all of the meetings were going to be at. And then she asked me to come to the building before the meeting to take a tour of the facility.
Oh, she's so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Give it
So
a-
I get to the building, you know, I'm early, it's probably like 10 minutes before the meeting. Nobody's there because it's an online meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
So I was late to the meeting because I'm like, oh my God, there's nobody here. I don't have any links to get to any.
well, I was wondering where you were, because
Yeah,
our group had the meeting before yours.
yeah,
And everybody else jumped on, I'm like, I thought I told Erica this was online. We talked about it at the last
I went
meeting.
to the facility to take a tour of the building because she had instructed me to do so.
Which is a lovely building.
Yeah.
And
Nobody there.
usually there is, like, usually the chair
Yeah.
is there and he does it there in
Yeah.
person and.
Oh no,
then
I
the
was
rest of
banging on the
Zoom.
door. So anyways, now I'm like, oh crap, this must be an online meeting. So I'm going through everything. I finally found a link on their website and I popped on. And one of the other members of the board had to get off early. So it was their annual budget that they had to go
Oh,
through
which takes forever.
forever. And then I seconded a whole bunch of things because we had to. I was, you know, before she left so that we wouldn't lose our quorum.
Right.
So we just went through everything. I couldn't tell you what I was seconding or what we passed, or I couldn't abstain from anything because I had to vote. So,
Well, you're all good.
yeah, I learned a lot.
That's good.
No.
All right. Anybody else for anything from a subcommittee perspective? All right, we're at our second public comment section. If we have anybody here that would like to speak for public comment, you have every right to do so. If you want to go to the podium here, we'll give you a 3-minute time frame.
I apologize, we were actually in the hallway at quarter of.
No worries.
The door said it was locked and said go to that door, and the
Oh,
door was
okay.
locked, so we didn't know it.
No worries.
So apologize.
Glad you made it.
So I'm here.
If I can just get your name and where you live.
Mark Garrity, my son is Mason Garrity, 10th grade. I'm here with some concerns about the process for the JV basketball boys team and how the evaluation process happened here this year. For background, my son tried out, he did not get it, along with 4 or 5 other 10th graders. As we all know, there was not a basketball program last year because of COVID. Some kids may have played a little bit, but we didn't want our son playing because of COVID, obviously. So this particular year, the way the process went is the coach had the 7th and 8th graders practice and the upperclassmen practice separately. They then put a team together where 10th graders were not given spots on JV. against kids from 8th grade who were put on JV, but they never had a chance to actually compete against those kids for that spot. So my concern is that the 10th graders really didn't have an opportunity. This is really their first year of eligibility in the high school program. They didn't have a chance last year to play. They didn't get better because of that. They probably got worse sitting around for 2 years. But the kids who didn't make the team, I know them. I actually coached rec center from 1st through 6th grade in 4 different sports for these kids. I know they're good kids who can play basketball. In fact, these kids all, the last time they played in 2019 and 2020, they actually won the CYO championship. And my son being one of the key players of that team as well. I know these kids can play basketball. My concern is when you allow 10th graders to lose their spot to 8th graders who they didn't even get to compete against, what message does that send to these kids? That you don't have to compete, you can just be put on the team. There's also a number of other issues we had is that the same coach sent out an email. If you want to pass it around, or if you want to pass it
So
around.
actually,
Yeah, so he sent an email to some of the 7th and 8th grade parents that it's not safe for 7th and 8th graders to compete against upperclassmen. He then put those 8th graders on the team to compete against upperclassmen in other towns. If it wasn't safe to put them on the team, why didn't, in the scrimmage, why didn't you let them go on the team? Why didn't you just give the 10th graders a chance to compete against anyone who might have been good enough to make JV and give them all a fair chance to make the team? And that's my concern, is that 10th graders were not given a chance to go on JV. They got their opportunity taken away last year. These kids want to get to varsity. They want to have a letter next to their name when they apply for college, right? That's really important. We all know that. That's a really big thing. These kids, in my opinion, were treated very unfairly in this process. I spoke to the coach, the assistant, the athletic director, the principal and vice principal. I asked every single one of them this question: was that fair? Not one of them have actually given me an answer yet. And my ask for all of you guys, you don't have to answer in public here. Talk amongst yourself. Was that fair? Shouldn't 10th graders have the right to compete with anyone of any grade for that same spot on the team? If you just do drills, 8th graders competing against 7th graders, freshmen and sophomores competing against juniors and seniors who are varsity eligible and probably good enough to play varsity, have been doing this for 4 years. Who do you think's gonna have a better evaluation? The child playing against a 7th grader or the child playing against a senior? Which child's gonna have a better evaluation? To me, this was really unfair. These kids got missed opportunity a year ago, and now they're being given no opportunity to compete for a spot this year. The coach said it's based strictly on drills. I said, but didn't you have 7th and 8th compete? He said, yes. I said, did you have 10th graders compete with those 8th graders who took their spot? He said, no. I said, then how is that fair? That's my question here.
okay, thank you, Mr. Garrity.
Thank you.
Okay, committee discussion, old business. Anybody got anything for old business for us tonight? Anybody got anything for new business? Okay. I will entertain a motion of adjournment at this point.
Second.
We'll do a roll call vote to adjourn the meeting. Pam,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
Rob's a yes. Motion passes 7-0-0. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Thank you.